This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good evening, everyone. New for you at 5. A bizarre turn of events lands one man in jail after failing to comply with police in West Fargo. It happened around 6:30 last night when West Fargo police officers confronted a man with outstanding warrants in the 800 block of East Beaton Drive. Police say that man is 29-year-old Anthony Olson, and those outstanding warrants were for terrorizing and interfering with 911 calls. When officers encountered Olson, he didn't comply and he had a knife. Authorities eventually were able to place him into custody after using a taser and a beanbag shotgun. Olson faces charges for outstanding warrants, attempted aggravated assault on a police officer, possession of meth paraphernalia, and preventing arrest. To the forecast, it's nice out there today, and tomorrow is looking even better. Here's Hutch with a first look for you.
Casey, thanks so much. We have some high clouds, as you saw there, building in the Grand Forks area. Other than that, it's a bit breezy, but beautiful as temperatures have soared well into the 40s. Look at Jamestown, 45 degrees there. It's 46 in Aberdeen and 30s elsewhere. 31 in Thief River Falls. To the west, a mass of clouds. The radar showing some snow in the high country of Montana. That's all heading our way. We'll have hour-by-hour details on that for your Friday forecast. So there is going to be a chance of clouds and snow. But for tonight, enjoy. A little on the breezy side, and in fact that wind could even pick up as we go through the late night hours from the south at 20 to 35 miles per hour. Temperatures will hold steady in the 30s all the way through bedtime tonight. Your hour-by-hour forecast for Friday and beyond coming up here in just a moment.
Fantastic, Hutch. Thanks so much. A Fargo man will serve no jail time after being accused of assaulting his girlfriend. 19-year-old Skylar Goodman was accused of assaulting a woman back in June of 2020. He was originally charged with one count of felony terrorizing with a deadly weapon, as well as a misdemeanor count of domestic assault. Court records show Goodman pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge of menacing. The other charges were dismissed. 8 middle school students now facing charges following a fight where a school resource officer was injured. Police say it happened on Monday at Carl Ben Eielson Middle School. School officials were trying to break up the fight, but called in the resource officer because the kids involved wouldn't stop. The officer was hurt by 2 of the students. House lawmakers are looking at potential security failures surrounding the January 6th deadly insurrection on the U.S. Capitol, including intelligence, tactical, and strategic failures. The House Appropriations Subcommittee held a virtual hearing today on Capitol Hill. In opening statements, the acting chief for the Capitol Police acknowledging that there are numerous lessons to be learned from the attack.
The department was either ignorant of or ignored critical intelligence that indicated that an attack of the magnitude that we experienced on January 6th would occur. The department was not ignorant of intelligence indicating an attack of the size and scale we encountered on the 6th. There was no such intelligence.
Now, the same panel reconvenes next week to hear from officials with the FBI, Department of Defense, and Department of Homeland Security to find out what they knew and when leading up to January 6th. More than 1 in 5 rural Americans don't want to get a COVID vaccine. A new poll suggests reluctance in rural communities could be a communication issue. Our Washington Bureau's reporter Peter Zampa reports that a history of skepticism needs to be addressed.
In the quest for herd immunity against COVID-19, hurdles remain.
There's a great concern going ahead.
The U.S. vaccination campaign is being met with resistance. Alan Morgan, CEO of the National Rural Health Association, says access to the vaccine is one issue for rural areas, but reluctance to getting the shots is a more complicated problem.
Among rural communities, generally speaking, there's a distrust of government activities.
Morgan says the situation is made worse by the fact that many rural Americans are at higher risk of getting very sick from the coronavirus. He thinks more rural healthcare providers getting access to the vaccines and spreading the word will help remedy concerns.
We need to make sure that we're hearing from trusted resources within these rural communities.
Now, Dr. Brian Castrucci from the Du Beaumont Foundation says the focus needs to be on better communication after his organization found 37% of rural Americans won't get the vaccine.
We have to take them as a group that we need to be very thoughtful about.
The epidemiologist says the concerns of rural Americans should not be dismissed, but respectfully addressed. He says there is fear surrounding how quickly scientists develop the vaccines, and leaders need to assure them no corner cutting happened in the process. Castrucci argues healthcare providers can serve as role models and also stress to patients the vaccines are both safe and effective.
We just have to keep talking to people and making sure that they're hearing these messages, because misinformation is going to fill in any silence that is there.
As of now, the U.S. has administered nearly 70 million vaccine doses. In Washington, I'm Peter Zampa.
Vaccinations are ramping up in the Red River Valley. Some of the biggest vaccine distributors in the area say they're receiving more doses each week. However, Grand Forks Public Health says they have not received a significant increase in their locations locally. The health department plans to vaccinate around 3,500 people this week. Essentia Health says they're giving out around 1,500 vaccines this week. That's about where they've been. But next week, they're expecting double that amount, around 3,000 doses. The vaccines must be used by next Friday at 7 vaccination clinics in the Southern Valley. Fargo Cass Public Health bases their vaccine allocation on a 3-week rotation from the North Dakota Department of Health. The Public Health Center has received some smaller first dose allocations along with their planned second dose allocations. Public Health Center will administer approximately 1,400 doses this week. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz held a press conference today to discuss future vaccination efforts for the state. Governor Walz confirmed the stream of Johnson & Johnson vaccines that should be distributed in Minnesota in the coming months. Governor Walz also stated that by the time April rolls around, 98% of people who are at serious risk for fatality from the coronavirus will have been vaccinated.
We've got a reliable federal partners committed to delivering stable and growing vaccine supply. You heard the announcements, and it'll come on officially here. Johnson & Johnson vaccine works. It's one dose. It's shelf stable. We don't need to keep it at 90 degrees below zero, which means we're going to have another stream of vaccine coming into the state very soon.
Governor Walz says based on current vaccine projections, the next group eligible for a vaccine will begin getting them in April, and every Minnesotan should be able to get a vaccine by this summer. Cass County residents with 2 or more high-risk medical conditions, regardless of age, are now being asked to share their information with Fargo Cass Public Health if they're interested in the COVID vaccine. Residents in Phase 1B are encouraged to submit a vaccine resident contact form or call 701-241-1360. Residents should monitor their email, spam, and junk folders to receive the vaccine availability. They say sharing your information may result in situations where individuals not currently eligible for the vaccine may make an appointment. If you want to stay on top of the latest COVID vaccine-related information, check out our VNL Vaccine Tracker. Simply visit our website or open your phone's camera and point it at the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. Kids in the Dilworth-Glendon-Felton School District are headed back to the classroom. The district has determined students will return beginning March 15th. DGF also says staff who requested the COVID vaccine have received their first dose, and many have received their second dose. Earlier this week, U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley announced his resignation for the end of the month. Today, our very own Chris Berg got the chance to sit down and talk with Wrigley about that decision.
New president is elected. The new administration typically replaces all of the United States attorneys. There are 93 total for the country, and there are currently somewhere in the 50s, 55 or so of us who were appointed by the previous administration, appointed and confirmed by the United States Senate. And the administration asked that we all resign effective February 28th.
You can catch his full interview tonight at 6:30 on Point of View. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources is urging anglers to clean up after themselves when they leave the ice. Officials say the deadline to remove your fish house is March 1st for the southern 2/3 of the state. The DNR asks that you clean the area around your fish house. You could face a fine of $200 if you're caught leaving trash. This Saturday, Gray Media, which owns Valley News Live, is partnering with the Grand Ole Opry to help bring in donations to Feeding America. Chris Jansen and Travis Tritt are among several artists that will appear, all in an effort to help people who have been affected by various disasters so far this year. The show will air live this Saturday on both KVLY and KXJB at 8 p.m. You hold the ticket to making a child's wish come true. Valley News Live is teaming up with Make-A-Wish for its Miles for Smiles drive today. So far today, the Miles for Smiles drive has received more than 201,000 airline miles. That's almost enough for a family of 3 to travel on their wish list. You can donate your miles by calling the number provided there on your screen, 1-800-362-9474. Miles can also be donated at any time online at wish.org/North Dakota. A minimum donation of 1,000 miles is required for Delta and United. Make sure you tune in this weekend as the Bison travel to take on Southern Illinois for their second game of the spring season on Saturday. The pregame show starts at 11 and kickoff is set for noon. You can catch all the action on KVLY. Well, coming up, Target is becoming more and more of a one-stop shop. More on that in just a few minutes.
Today, we enjoyed some 40s in southeast North Dakota and the James River Valley, 30s elsewhere as the wind bringing warmer temperatures our way. Sunrise this morning was beautiful. We'll see more clouds on your Friday, and some of us will see flakes. Your forecast details are next.